10 cheap essential scents for men. Hey guys, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman, and it's time for your dose of some fragrance content. Today I'm going to talk about essential scents, daily essential scents for men that are cheap, that are easy to wear, that you don't need to think about the occasion necessarily, the time of the day or the time of the year. Easy, dumb rich type of fragrances that are inexpensive. And I'm going to start with something from the brand of Zimaya, which is called Abadi Saga. This one smells a lot like Creed Aventus Absolute, but at the same time feels I would say, a lot fresher and a lot more fruitier than Aventus Absolute itself, making it even more versatile than Aventus Absolute. And in fact, the way that Zimaya have designed and constructed the scent of Abadi Saga actually makes it almost as versatile as the OG Creed Aventus as well. So it's fruity, slightly citrusy, with a bit of oak moss on the dry down, some woodiness, some additional sweetness. Overall, a very easy to wear fragrance with nice quality and pretty decent performance. And again, something that you really can daily drive without any problem. The next one comes from the brand of Wataniah, and it's called Kahir. This one is, or used to be, a very hyped up clone of YSL YEDP. At some point in time, a lot of people were claiming that this actually is the best clone of YEDP that you can get. I don't necessarily agree with that, but this is a good clone of YEDP. Not the closest thing to YEDP, but still a pretty decent fragrance. Now keep in mind that when I got this bottle early on this year, initially I wasn't very impressed because this had a sort of a slight harsh and spicy harshness in the opening of this one, which smelled very weird. But the good thing is that with a few months of maceration, this actually started to settle, and nowadays smells a lot more pleasant in the opening and a lot closer to YEDP. YEDP is a universally liked versatile men fragrance that just a lot of people like a lot. And Kahir, after some maceration, nowadays smells very close and quite pleasant. Now I don't know if that's the case with all the bottles with Kahir, but particularly my bottle just needed some time to sit around and mature before it actually started to smell good. But it has decent quality and pretty decent performance and can be a great daily driver. The next one that I've prepared for today comes from the brand of Afnan, and it's part of the Supremacy line. And this one is called Supremacy Not Only Intense. And this is a fragrance that smells a lot like Nishane Hashivat, in a way smells a lot like Creed Aventus, but it has like an additional layer of sweetness, fruity sweetness added to the scent itself. And this is a very versatile masculine fragrance that actually, is one of those OG clones slash alternatives inspirations that used to be very famous. And there's a good reason for that, because this smells of nice quality. It has a very strong performance, it's pretty beastly, lasts for a very long time, projects quite nicely for a long time. The quality is really nice, and the thing about this one is also that this is a compliment getter. And even to this day, this remains a very relevant fragrance from the brand of Afnan, and one of my most favorite Afnan fragrances. And just like pretty much anything else from the Supremacy line, it's just overall a great fragrance. The next one comes from the brand of Haramain, and this one is called Amber Oud Aqua Dubai. And this one smells a lot like Louis Vuitton's Imagination without being an exact clone of Imagination, because this one feels a lot more soapy, slightly fresher and slightly less floral than Imagination itself. It will bring you strong Imagination vibes, but again with just added more soapiness, which makes it feel a little bit more clean and maybe slightly more, I don't know, like a slightly more summery or warm weather version of Imagination itself. Very easy to wear fragrance that in fact is almost perfectly unisex. It has really nice quality because it comes from the Amber Oud line, and also the performance for a freshie is quite strong with this one. The next one that I've included in this video comes from the brand of Lattafa, and it's called Lattafa Dynasty. It's one of the recent releases from Lattafa, and in a way this reminds me of stuff like Aqua Dubai, without this being a clone of Imagination, without this smelling super close to Aqua Dubai, but because this has a bit of citruses up top, it has again a bit of that floral touch thanks to the tea note that this one also has, just like Aqua Dubai. It just sort of brings distant similar vibes, if that makes sense. But this is slightly darker. This is not as fresh as Aqua Dubai. This is more musky on the dry down, has a little bit more sweetness. This is like a slightly more grown up version of this one, like a more dressed up version of this one. If this is more like a laid back, let's say warm weather daytime scent, this is like the night version. But that makes it, in my opinion, a little bit more versatile, because this can also work pretty nicely in slightly colder weather as well. Again, good quality and pretty decent performance, given the fact that this still, you know, can be perceived more as a fresher scent rather than something dark and more like sweet and serious. The next one comes from the brand of Rasasi, and it's again one of those older fragrances that's very famous and has been around for a while, but to this day, in my opinion, remains very relevant. It comes from the brand of Rasasi, and it's called Hawas Fuim. This is the original Hawas, that to this day probably is my most favorite member of the whole, you know, Hawas line, even including the many new releases in this lineup. This smells a lot like Invictus Aqua, although this is not a clone of Invictus Aqua, because this actually was released before Invictus Aqua. It's sweet, it's bubblegummy, it's also very musky, slightly more youthful as a scent, but you know, it has such an interesting character that this can be worn throughout the year without any problem. This can work in an office, this can work as a gym scent, this can work as a date night fragrance. It's just a great fragrance overall that again to this day I think remains very relevant. It has nice quality and a very good performance. The next one comes from the brand of Paris Corner, and this is one of those scents that feel a little bit more mature and is one of the two most versatile fragrances that I've included in today's video. This one is called Acadia Intenso, and it smells a lot like Bleu de Chanel Parfum. So it's a blue scent that has some fruitiness, that has some woodiness, has some spices, maybe a bit of musks and all that stuff. But this is slightly darker. This is the darkest version, or used to be the darkest version of the Bleu de Chanel scent profile until the very recent new release in that lineup. This is a little bit more dressed up, a little bit more, I would say, slightly old school, slightly more mature, but still remains a very versatile fragrance that can be a daily driver without any problem, because you can wear this one even in warm weather, you can wear it in winter time, absolutely no problem. Nice quality, good performance, and this one will probably get you compliments and also can serve as a great sort of an office scent. The next one comes from the brand of Arabiyat Prestige. It's one of their latest releases. It's called Ramad, and this one smells a lot like something like Naxos from Zerzhov. I really like Naxos, and this, you know, the way that Arabiyat Prestige have made this scent, in a way, strongly resembles Naxos without being an exact clone of Naxos, because this is like a slightly darker version, slightly less aromatic than a Naxos, a little bit more tobacco-y, slightly less citrusy as well. Although on the dry down this gets pretty close to Naxos, still it remains a slightly darker version of Naxos overall. But it has really nice quality. It has a hint of booziness as well, which is an interesting touch, something that I don't get out of Naxos, and makes this one smells a little bit more appropriate for slightly cold weather. But still, you can get away with this one even in the summertime, as long as you don't overspray this one. And this can serve as a great sort of a daily essential scent if you like tobacco-based fragrances with some sweetness in them that feel classy, that feel you know, very sort of an slightly old school, but overall very classy. I've been really digging the way that a Ramad smells. Nice quality, good performance, and this is slightly cheaper than some other fragrances from the brand of Arabiyat Prestige. I'm going to finish off with two scents from French Avenue. One of them is as versatile as Acadia Intenso, maybe even slightly more versatile. It's called Zenith Blue, and this one smells a lot like Dior Sauvage. So again, it's a little bit woody, lots of ambroxan, a bit of citruses, some ambers, some spiciness, very masculine, very easy to wear, super popular fragrance that remains super popular still. It's still as popular as it was when it was released like 10 years ago or something like that. It's still a bestseller for Dior, the original scent. And right now, if you're looking for a Dior Sauvage clone, basically Zenith Blue is your best option because the quality here is fantastic. The performance is on par with the original scents, and right now this costs around about 30 to 40% of the price of of Sauvage. So it's a great choice, and it's a great daily essential type of scent for men. And the second French Avenue scent, and the last one in this video that I've included, is called Aether Extrait. And this one smells a lot like Parfum de Marly's Greenly, again without being an exact clone of Greenly, but this smells very nice. It's very fruity, very fresh, slightly green, with some sweetness, a lot of muskiness, some woods as well. This smells absolutely fantastic. The quality and the scent of this one are super nice. Keep in mind that the performance is not absolutely great, but that's okay because this is more of a warm weather scent, but you can wear this one throughout the year without any problem. It's one of those types of scents I think that pretty much every man who's at least a little bit into fragrances should own, this type of scent profile. I've been really digging Aether. Again, just keep in mind that the performance is not fantastic, but nowadays this is a lot cheaper than it once used to be, so you can overspray this one without feeling any guilt, and overall it's a great scent from French Avenue. And so guys, in today's video I showed you a total of 10 cheap essential scents for men. I hope that you found today's video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in my next video for your dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.